What's up, you guys? I'm Indy. That over there is Jay. And in the middle, we have Martine. So, Jay.
Hi, everybody.
You want to introduce her?
Yes. I guess that would be my job. This is Martine Spaans. She runs Tamalaki Games. I've known her for well over a decade at this point. But she also does, she judges indie game competitions, like I've done in the past. She's just done more of them, and she's a little better at it. So we wanted to have her on today to not only, talk about what she sees and her experience from, the publisher side, but also to actually go through and take a look at some games that we got that were viewer submissions that came in over the last week. So if you did submit your game and you don't see it today, it's simply time constraints. Don't worry. It has nothing to do with anything that I might have dropped the ball on at all. But yeah, Martine, let's start where we always like to start, and tell us about, what you do, the day job, but then also how did you get into the industry? Because there's a very non-linear, non-normal path everyone goes through to get to where we all are today. So tell us your story.
Yeah. Well, so to start off with, nowadays I'm a mobile game publisher, and there is no school for that, or at least there wasn't when I started out, which was about 10 years ago, I think. And yeah, strange thing. I started out as an intern at a big sort of Dutch TV broadcasting company, and yeah, they had like an interactive department with some like silly old Flash games, and they needed an intern to sort of keep those running. So I did that for a while, enjoyed that, and then got in touch with Spill Games, which is like a big company who manages, over 50 sort of online Flash portals, and started out there as their games person, because there wasn't really one yet. The majority of the team was just like tech guys keeping it all running. So yeah, kind of built that out, and a few years later rolled into the mobile industry, and then there wasn't really sort of that niche that I wanted to go for in the games that I really also enjoyed playing a lot. There was like hidden object games and match 3, and those kind of like super casual on-the-go games. And just set up in a publishing channel for that. That's what we've been doing for the last 5 years, and still going strong.
Awesome. Nice. So you're a publisher. What is the name of your publisher here? Let's get that in there. Tamalaki, and she right above her head is the Twitter account. So you guys go follow that. How many games does Tamalaki have right now?
We used to have close to 100, but to be honest, yeah, a couple months ago we deleted a few of the older ones. These were games from like 5 years ago, and they were like the old model that worked back then. It was basically gameplay for 3 or 4 hours, and we would release a new one every week, and there'd be some ads in it. You could like spend $1 to play buy the ad-free version. And that was it. And that was fine 5 years ago, but it's not really a model that works anymore. And the games were like built in Adobe Air, so they were like buggy and slow. So we had to let go to some of our sort of earliest Tamalaki memories. But we still have about 25 to 30 games left right now. So it's still a lot to handle.
Are those like on Steam or? Online games? Or?
First one is going to come out on Steam pretty soon, but they're all on Google Play and iOS and Amazon.
So over the last 5-10 years, how have you seen the casual, and we'll use that term very broad now because it is a very, very broad area now. How have you seen that market change from where it was, 5 years, 10 years ago?
When you're talking about 5 years ago, that was sort of like the middle of the Candy Crush hype, basically. Right? So back then, it was already fully free to play, and like the majority of the audience was already used to the big free to play model. I guess the only thing that I saw that changed since then is back then games didn't necessarily need to have a story yet. It was basically 1,000 levels and play as much as you like. And when you look at the successes now, for example, like Gardenscapes, which is one of the biggest match-3 games now, that kind of has a story element to it, where you have to restore a mansion and complete small quests and those kind of things. And on the hidden object fronts, there's like Seeker's Notes and Pearl's Peril and sort of things, where it's also all about the story and progressing the storyline and doing side quests. And that's also what we try to focus on with our games, to make sure that it's not just sort of mindless grinding. There's always sort of more to enjoy.
Give you a point for the mindless grinding, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that to be fair, that is still the sort of the core gameplay that people enjoy and that they come for. Like I want to play a match-3 game. Well, there you go, play match-3. But it is what keeps people in the game, and it's what sort of makes that sort of one mechanic that makes sure that they don't leave and just go play another game.
Right. Okay.
And we've seen such diversification. It used to be, and I will admit that I forget that it's been 10 years since we had that big transition from premium to free to play. But, it used to be these games were centered and aimed and, right at women 35 and older. And now you've got things like Marvel Puzzle Quest and, all of these different, even the original Puzzle Quest, which I talked about last week, as well, that have taken these casual mechanics and turned them into, games that are played by an even wider audience, and even what we still consider the core gamers, the younger generation that isn't used to playing maybe a match-3 or a hidden object. Though I haven't seen many hidden objects go that route, but match-3 is definitely. So no, that's interesting and good. So Indy, so we're doing something new today. We haven't tried this yet before, so we're trying to get through this as well as possible. Indy's going to be playing a game, and Martine's going to be looking at it through her indie game judge glasses. So can you give us a little background on how long you've been doing this, and the show? Do you do it for Indie Prize only, or have you looked at other competitions as well?
Quite a few actually. So yeah, there's the Big Indie Prize linked to the Casual Connect events. There is the Very Big Indie Pitch linked to the Pocket Gamer events. Then there is the International Mobile Game Awards with various sort of chapters across the world. Then of course there is the
can you do me a quick favor? Is there a way that you can move your camera over? Because right now the sun's shining in it and you're just a silhouette.
So you know what? Let me close that curtain.
Okay.
That might be easier.
I think that's going to work. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, is that better?
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Yeah. We have a dark developer den now.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in our element.
Well, no, in the element, if there's no windows, then that's really...
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Right. Yeah, so anyway, there's a whole variety of all sorts of all mobile sort of prizes and contests for indie developers. And I like participating as a judge because one, for my business, it gives me a very good opportunity to scout for new games, many of them all at the same time. And on the other hand, I always like helping developers with feedback. So the least I can do when I either accept or sort of recommend or reject a game, the least I can do is just give feedback why.
Which is often very hard and requires a somewhat delicate touch on occasion.
Yeah. You cannot just tell a developer that their baby that worked on for 2 years sucks. So no, there's definitely some delicacy there.
So when you're looking, at a game, are there certain things that you are looking for certain key tent poles that you're looking for in the games as you're judging them, or is it a situation where everything, it's wildly variant on the game, or what are you looking for, and what do you for developers that are looking to submit to one of these competitions, what are the key things that they need to know and be aware of?
I mean, it's always the combination of everything, right? But one of the main important things I'd say is just the first time user experience, right? I mean, you hand your game over to one of the judges, or to just like someone, for example, who wants to play your game at PAX, for example, right? I mean, it's a similar situation. You just hand your game over, without much explanation. They need to be able to have a good time. Because if they download your game from Steam or whatever, you won't be there to explain to them either, right? So that's just the thing that needs to work. It's just a combination of course, like the controls actually need to do what the user expects, or they get frustrated. There needs to be some visual candy to some sort, or if there isn't, then at least it needs to sort of fit in the spirit of the game. No one reads on the internet, so no walls of text, and these might sound like incredibly obvious pointers, but it is surprising how often I still see walls of text in the tutorial, because it's one thing to know that you shouldn't do that, and then it's another thing to actually try to make it work in your own game. Those are kind of things that I try to help developers with, give some advice on.
That's like one of the good things, having your game at a show, or like maybe getting a Twitch live streamer to play it while you're there. Because if you have to go like, okay, well, you got to go left here. Oh, you have to go in that door. If you're doing that continually, then the game is not very intuitive. If you have to like explain. Yeah, exactly. And I played a lot of games that are like that, where I'm like, I have no idea what to do. And the developer's like, well, you got to do this. Well, you got to do this. If you got to tell me that stuff, then you got to do something different on the game for sure.
And I understand that the developer at that point wants to make sure that you get it and you have a good time, and they want to sort of prevent you from walking away like, well, I don't get it. But then that's the whole problem, because that is only at that moment at the show that the developer can do that. And the game, like you say, the game basically needs to speak for itself. Otherwise, it will just be a bad user experience.
And there's the inverse side of that as well. I remember one of the games that I was looking at for one of the indie prize back a year or two ago. I swear it had a 20-minute tutorial, and it was like, it was a fairly basic. They weren't doing anything groundbreaking. It was well done, but that first time user experience, to this day, the only thing I remember about that game was, oh my God, tutorial. It's like, you don't need to drag it along, because I think it was like a match 3 game, and it's like, there are simpler ways to do this. So you've got to be able to strike that balance between, I'm just going to let you loose in a game and you figure it out, and then the absolute hand-holding to the nth degree that will drive somebody batshit crazy, basically. Indy, are you?
I'm ready. I got space cows. I got space cows drawn up here. My favorite kind of tutorial is the tutorial that you just get in the game and there is no tutorial, and each like progressive thing teaches you how to do that next thing. All right, let's see here. Bam, space cows. There we are. All right, so here we go. We got space cows up. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Space. Okay. I already like this game. It's got cows.
I like the word joke I saw, like slow mo move.
Yeah, there was a. So it's one of those things where I have my controller connected, and it's showing me the controller controls. But then if you go to here, it doesn't show you. That bugs me so much. It doesn't. It shows you the mouse and keyboard controls. But I'm using my mouse and keyboard. But here we go. See, then there's a little image right here that says slow-mo, left trigger. Well, I'm using my mouse and keyboard. Mm-hmm. I think that to me is one of the annoying things of some games. Or some games you'll have your controller, because I just leave my controller plugged in. The controller and You can only do the controller controls.
Yeah. So was there like any explanation what that off means, or that timer and the milk or whatever?
No, I think no, there wasn't. Oh.
So it's just like sort of a figure it out on your experience.
Yeah, you're just out there. You're kind of. It's weightlessness, and you just tap it one direction, and it just kind of moves that way. And I can aim with the mouse. Oh, apparently Q, dash it. Oh, that's not good.
I can't figure out if you're actually a cow or just a fat weird man.
Probably both. But in the game, I think I'm a cow.
So, and Space Cows.
That was a little funny. Okay, I don't know what just happened. I accidentally pressed Q, I think. Ah, I'm dead. No. You know what? I've always liked cutesy games like this. I've always thought they were cute, and I'm almost dead. Space Cows. Apparently I died. Taller than you. What's up? Oh, we got people in chat. Most games seem to be decent about detecting which input you're actually using and adjusting for that. Surprising there are still games having trouble. You know what? I would probably say, when you say most games, I would say 60% of indie games are good about detecting which input you're using and adjusting. It could even be 55%. I would say that 6 out of 10 games are good at doing it, but then there's 4 that don't. You listen to the stream with headphones. Excellent. Okay, so you know, I like all this little goopy stuff down here and the little effects of this stuff. I think it looks neat. It feels really straightforward playing. I'm going to play it with a controller.
So it's interesting that this game basically starts without explaining objective or you know, basically figure it out on your own, which I like, because you know what we just talked about. A lot of games just have this sort of over tutorial thing. In most games, you can pretty much figure out on your own, right? I mean,
I like the fact that it's got that, you know, if you, in the background, kind of in a non-obtrusive way, it says, yeah, to do the slow mode, you know, hit this. So they're not pausing the game, which is something that always drives me crazy. It's like, if I'm on a roll through a game, stop pausing it so you can tell me something.
On the other hand, this might be too subtle because I didn't actually get explain to that.
Yeah, that could be the other side of it. It's like,
I'm dead.
And now I see like the dash, you know, dash it, like the stuff, but I didn't even notice before. I guess it's sort of that, you know, blindness to whatever happens in the background because you're so focused on what happens before that, right?
Right. And then, okay, so there is slow-mo is right click. It's slow moo. Okay, that's funny. So if I do that, it's just slow-mo.
Idiot just popped in, and he's my resident Fatui expert. You missed the whole talk on Fatui. We were all into that like 10 minutes ago.
Fatui?
Yeah, he says it's diegetic UI, which I have no idea what that means, and I'm accusing him of making up words.
Oh.
Digestible, diegetic? No? Oh, okay.
Hey, gamer, what's up? Here we go. All right, I'm going to make it this time. What is that package? What are those things supposed to be, like udders or something sticking out? I'm unsure.
I don't know, but they look, I mean, they're green, so they don't look very healthy.
They have a virus look to them.
Caution, spilled milk. Is that what it says?
Oh.
Yeah.
Gamer husband, I do totally make up the show week to week. That's obvious. You know, it's the experts that I have around me in the industry that make me, you know, appear far smarter than I actually am.
I think that's a poisonous udder. Ah! Can I just go?
I mean, this is
I cannot.
First level, right?
Yeah, it's the first level.
A little bit intense for the first level because you're not exactly a rookie gamer, but you are losing. You know, you're basically dying quite a bit.
That's just I'm automatically going through it. There we go. I died a couple times, yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, I can't go up in there. I'm dead. No, I'm not dead. Oh, slow-mo.
I do understand like the appeal of games that are really hard, but every time you die, you do have to start all the way from the beginning, which then can get a bit frustrating.
Please don't start from the beginning. Oh, crap. Starting from the beginning. That is some kind of utter pot thing. I don't know what that is.
So what
whatever
I'm
it
hearing
is, it's
so
disgusting.
far is it's a little too challenging for an initial level.
I mean, it's pretty challenging. It sucks that there's no checkpoint. But I think after you do it a couple times, you probably get a lot better. I got 42 milk, so that's good.
I guess.
So is that your life? Because I can't see a... Oh, is the life up at the top right? The 3... It's cut off on the screen, so...
I think so. I think it is.
Okay.
It's not cut off on the screen.
It is on mine. Oh, you're right. No, it's not. I have to scroll.
Get a bigger monitor, Jay.
Surround myself with people smarter than me.
All right. So, okay. I do have to kill those guys again. For some reason, this doesn't seem as hard as it did the first time.
I would be interested in the backstory of this game, though.
Who are the space cows?
And why are there like green numbers?
Why are there
green? Well, every time to the developer, I don't know if they are. It's built by Happy Corruption, and I don't know if they are live on now or not. But
oh crap! I want the milk.
We were looking at their game.
I like the cutesy artwork. I like this kind of artwork. Okay, it's just automatically making me go through, and I got milk.
Yeah, the artwork's nice and all the details in the background. That's like really good.
What I like about this kind of artwork is that, you know, in 10 years from now, it's still going to be relevant.
Yeah.
It's not, because it's not trying to be super realistic or... Go!
So you've got like a power attack now.
Yeah. Uh-oh, I'm dead. That was it. Want to know why I started as a cow and turned into a naked guy? I don't know if I started as a cow. What is this stuff over here? Blue?
Milk?
Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
I wonder if as the game goes on, that starts moving down the, you know, as a kind of pushing you forward mechanic.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be moving though.
There's a lot of neat juice, you know. You do something and it does something. Click a button and...
So we need checkpoints.
Yeah.
The passive tutorial system needs to be a little less passive.
Yeah, I mean, I like what they did, but like I said, that sort of slow button, I didn't even see that the first 2 times.
This right here? Oh, I saw it immediately, but I'm not using a controller, so. And it doesn't say right mouse button, which is weird. Because that's what slow-mo is the right mouse button.
Yeah, the other one's the same way. It's got a B button.
Dash it.
Which, you know, if you're playing it, so here's the other problem with that. If you're playing it on a PS4 controller or
a Logitech controller, yeah,
it's not always going to be
an Xbox controller.
Yeah. I was going to say it wouldn't apply to Switch, but there is a B button on the Switch, so, you know, it could.
But yeah, the B button is different on the Switch, though. Because, you know, Nintendo has the weird That still bugs me. That still
it
messes
always
me
drives
up.
me nuts. And Functional Idiot gets on me and he's like, well, that's what it's supposed to be because Nintendo. And I'm like, it doesn't matter when I'm playing Minecraft with my son that I'm like randomly throwing things around the map because I'm trying to jump.
I would rather them just be colors, you know? I mean, it would have to, of course, take into consideration color blindness, but
which luckily is something we're seeing more and more developers pay attention to now.
Yep.
Accessibility.
Yeah, there's actually a really nice font to make improve readability for people with dyslexia, and it's like super easy to implement. Yeah. I mean, that's
really
with like our hidden object games, text is kind of important. So we've been started doing that. We got like some really good feedback on it. People are like very grateful for it. So like, I can finally play your game without getting frustrated, that kind of thing.
All right, so educate me. How does the font help with help with dyslexia?
It's the spacing between different characters that's just a little bit different from like other fonts. I've of course seen it being implemented in the games, but I don't know exactly what all the reasoning is behind every character in there. But some are bigger and some are smaller, and it's just like very, very small, subtle things. But it improves readability a lot.
I think I'm supposed to put this cow in there. Yep. Yeah. Milk must flow. So the last part, that was like the last
it's a
what?
Interesting cartoon.
Oh, are we in a mini game now?
Apparently.
Oh, this looks like this looks like a Timberman mini game kind of thing.
Cowtastic. All right. I gotta say, I love the artwork. Muchas gracias.
I like that too. So let's get final thoughts so we don't get pigeonholed on one because we still got 2 more games to do.
Okay. Final thoughts.
Martine, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Could actually have quite a bit of a sort of following because it's a little bit goofy. It's something that is easily shareable because it's a bit weird. But yeah, like we discussed, I think it needs needs to be a little bit more clear about what it actually is and at these checkpoints.
I think it would be good for kids because it's cute. It's also not like scary for, I don't know what's the word I'm thinking. I just think just because of the graphics, more people would be likely to play it. But I think Isabel could play it. She's 5, 6,
if
4,
this is going to be for kids, then it needs to be like way easier.
Yeah, that's true. What about you, Jay?
I like the art, and it's obviously well thought out and well designed, in terms of overall package. But I'm with you. When someone's playing it for that first time, I mean, you died. You had to restart 3 times before you actually got to the finish. And you're an experienced gamer along the way, so I think that needs to be toned out. And I agree with Martine. She didn't even see I like the passive tutorial in the background, but it needs to be, I don't know, if you put made the border around it flash or something to draw you, so you
gave it some juice so that when you're next to it, it's all like bling, and then it maybe if the sign wasn't there, but when you got next to it, the sign popped up and went bling like that, so that you would know.
Hey, Dark Child. So Functional Idiot says use the physics more to their advantage than they do. Fix the UI. Don't confuse diegetic UI and 2D UI. Smaller levels with achievable goals. Younger people can see. All right. So when you're talking about fix the UI, you're talking about, there's 2 different areas of the UI. And I want to call you by your real name, but I know that's rude because I know who you are, but I'll keep calling you Functional Idiot. Got it.
Don't confuse the message.
What I also think about the UI is there were elements just floating in the background, and it would be sort of a lot easier on the eyes if there was just a little bit of background to that.
And maybe a little more indication of what things were. Like, what were the hay bales for? Anything?
Or are the little packages just floating around? I mean, are those just like things to bump into, or, you know?
I think those were the hay bales.
Oh, all right. So this is Project Shore.
Everybody, moving on.
Moving on. It's a work in progress, it says. I like the art style. I love my mouse. Wonder why he chose this village to meet us. It's quite a detour from how we have planned to return. You are right. I don't want to get stuck in the woods at night. All right, let's click to continue. Greetings. Welcome to the shore. Tutorial. Basic interaction. Press and hold left mouse button to move around. Press and hold right mouse button to move the camera. Simple enough. Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to have to close the door. People are being loud in the other room. Those dang loud people.
I like this sort of, this is kind of also more of a trend, in more games. It's sort of this cel-shaded, simplistic 3D, but it works. It's really smooth.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, in 5 years from now, this game is still going to be, if it was trying to be hyper-realistic graphics, it would look like crap in 10 years from now. Oh, here we go. Yeah. As you approach the village, you overhear two men speaking. I love voiceovers in games. I'm not a big fan of reading in games, but... Okay, let's see if we're going
to... It goes both ways for me, because, and one, we know for indie teams, a lot of times getting voiceover is expensive and time-consuming, and, it's not
hard
easy
to localize.
To do. It's very hard to localize.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of it. But at the same time, I prefer to read because I get to have those characters in my head versus someone telling me exactly what they sound like.
I like to watch the movie and then read the book, because in that way the who the characters are already established. I guess I'm opposite when it comes to that. Villager.
What I prefer about the reading is that sometimes you just read faster than the voiceover is, and then if you kind of want to, if you're waiting for the voiceover, then it becomes a little bit like, yeah, get on with it.
All right, I think I think about it as a streamer. I mean, it's cool to like do the voiceovers and whatever, but as a streamer, not every streamer wants to do the voices and read them out loud.
We have a minor issue. That's an actual, the developer just sent me a message and said, that looks like an old build, not the Steam beta build. And I was like, what? And they actually sent us updated Steam beta builds that I didn't see. Is it possible to go to the next one, Indy, and download the updated version before we start giving a whole lot of feedback on that one?
Yeah, it's going to put a pause in the stream, but yeah.
I just dropped the codes in
Discord?
in the FAQ. No, in the FAQ.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that is my bad. I'm blaming it on the hurricane. That's my reasoning for everything this week. Everything last week went sideways because we were getting a shit ton of rain.
So it's the Google Drive link.
No. Look down below that. I put some.
It's Project Shore game, the Game Jolt one.
No. The numbers, the three whatever's underneath that Steam codes. See them? There you go. All right.
I'll take the top one here.
All right. So while we're pausing due to absolutely not my fault of mismanaging, how this show is run on a weekly basis. Questions, from anyone while we're doing this, and if not, I've got one. So Martine, can you go into a little more detail on what Functional Idiot was talking about with the confusion between diegetic UI and 2D UI?
It might be because I'm, Dutch and English is actually not my first language, but I don't know what diegetic is.
I have no idea what it is either.
All right, so I, asked him that earlier, and so he said that it was, where was it? Like quick actions for quick rewards.
Diegetic, the telling of a story by a narrator who summarizes events in the plot and comments on the conversation thoughts. I don't know.
Right.
So he said it's the quick success, quick rewards, mentality when you're going through the games.
Well, yeah, that is nowadays kind of what gamers expect. I guess kind of how gamers have been conditioned more and more, partially through mobile games. It's sort of the quick play bites of mobile games that trickle through to other parts of game distribution, I think. But yeah, that is basically the best practice right now.
So he says it's when a game's interface elements exist in universe. So like the billboards in the background. That is what he's referring to. Mm-hmm. All right, so let me ask you the next question then. At what point in the game's development cycle do you recommend, the developers start submitting to these competitions? Is there a point when it's too early? Is there a point when it's too late?
There is definitely a point when it's too early. It's too early if you basically just have a wireframe build or something that's buggy, because it is about first impressions. Even if like a year later you submit it again, then people might remember from seeing it before and they're like, oh yeah, it was that buggy game, and then you're starting off on the wrong foot basically. So make sure you have a smooth build. I would, partially I would say let the judges just go through that real first-time user experience. But it is also nice to be able to offer an insight in what happens later in the game. Either by building a really exciting video to support your submission, or by just unlocking everything and just like showing what is all possible in the game. But yeah, definitely don't like throw the judges something in a fully fledged out build and an account that's already been played for 100 hours. Then you skip over that really important first-time user experience.
Which is ironically funny because that's how I learned to submit stuff to publishers, 15, 20 years ago. You sent them a build that had like multiple save points through it so they could skip around to see the end. And now we look at these things, and I agree with you. And it's like, if you do that, then they're missing out on stuff that they would have learned through the process, and from my experience, that also, the other aspect of that is when you throw a bunch of stuff that needs to be read and like for the judge to review before they start playing your game, we've got so many of these games to go through that's not always going to happen. And you're basically setting yourself up for a fall if that's like required reading before you start going through these things.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got the new build now.
All right, starts off at a completely different point.
Yeah. I have no idea what just happened. I don't know how that happened. Do I have to click this? No actions available. I do not understand what I'm supposed to be doing. They're just kind of walking around. Charge, continue the onslaught. Okay, I clicked it. They're just kind of wandering around.
Do you have to click over to the side where it said that?
Oh.
I'm sitting here watching the Twitch stream and trying to click on there to test things, and it's really not working. And in my head, that should be working.
Yeah, I have no idea what to even do. There's buttons that says to switch union. That does nothing. I have an action menu. No actions available. What about this dude? Red guy, charge? Do I press 1 or 2?
There's a, for such a small box, there's a lot of text.
And it's just not very self-explanatory on what to do at all. I got it to do something one time. To me, I would figure like this kind of game, I would be like, okay, I'll click on this person and then go over here and go, okay, I'm going to attack this person.
All right. They said, I'm talking to them on Discord. They said, press the engage button.
It says space, engage. Yeah. No. I mean, I hope this is just like, I don't know. I hope this is unreleased.
And hold it.
Press and hold it. Why?
Oh, you did something.
I did something.
So is it one of those real-time but turn-based mechanics where you're placing your orders maybe, and then when you hit space, it's actually executing your orders?
I have no idea. Action menu. No options. No options. Is there a guy? This guy? Continue the onslaught. Then hold down space.
So they said apparently the tutorial which explained how to do this was disabled for us for some reason.
My opinion is I don't think it's fun at all. I don't like it. Sorry, but I don't like it.
It seems incredibly slow, the action.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, you try to sort of get people excited, like, oh, fight scene, but then it's sort of slow, and it took you a long time to figure it out. So frustrating at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the first fight scene in a game just needs to be so incredibly simple that it makes sort of the user feel more comfortable getting into the game.
Okay, so I mean, am I the green guy? I guess I'm the green guys. Q and E, switch union. That does nothing. Z and X, combat speed. Okay.
So they said you are executing orders, and then when you press space, when you hold space, that's when they get executed.
Charge. So, charge? But who's charging? I mean, are both of them charging? Is one of them charging one thing?
I would assume that your larger portrait on the left is
no, they both charge.
Or maybe
that's
not.
what I'm talking about.
But then why on the enemy side are there like two boxes? They're like one leader's gang and then like a rogue bandit who's not with those guys or something.
He didn't like taking orders from the big boss man, and so now he's formed a splinter faction.
Engage the enemy. And I'm dead.
Close.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the tutorial is pretty critical. But even without the tutorial, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the game mechanics. But that's me. I like the art style. I think it looks neat.
Yeah.
See if you can go back to a menu maybe and
to a menu? Okay.
And see if you can get the tutorial to run. I mean, I understand the gameplay, reasoning for it, because that's the way you see a lot of turn-based strategy games done. Is there it is, show tutorial.
See, apply. Does that? See, it's like there's a lot of things that don't have juice. And what I mean is juice by, like, you click something and something happens. So it's like there's an apply button, right? It says press C, but when I press C, there's no like indication that anything has happened. If you wanted to apply or whatever, whenever you press a button, you want like a bling on the screen or something. I mean, games without juice are, you don't know what's happening. You kind of, and I think that's what happened in this game, is that it just like, okay, escape, all right, Crucible of Blood, probably new slot, start. I like to see, like, when I do something it has an effect. All right, click to continue. Press and hold left mouse button to move around. Press and hold right button to rotate the camera. Talk to the keeper to set up your first battle. Hello, keeper.
Okay, so this is like sort of a game mode within the game, right? Because what we saw earlier looked more like sort of the exploring adventure game, and all that, and this is all about...
yeah, this is probably the core mechanic of the battling. That's what I'm guessing. In combat, instead of controlling individual characters, you issue orders to character squads. Your squads are located on the left of the screen. Enemy panels are located on the right side. Right-click on a squad panel to see available actions. Each squad can be given multiple orders depending on the target selected. Orders are given to each member of the Union. Attack this target or support this target. When carrying out an order, characters will automatically decide which ability to use depending on the situation.
All right, so here's something I got from just that part. The tutorial talks about squads, but the UI says Union. So if you've got multiple squads and you want to refer to them as a squad in the tutorial, your nomenclature needs to, be the same. So now we know why there were two different groups of, bandits a minute ago.
Because there's different squads?
Yeah. And I'm not sure, what the point of the squad is versus individual, characters, or, just one squad, or however you want to do it. But I would caution heavily against calling it a squad in the tutorial and telling the user they can switch the Union. They either need to be both Union or both squad.
I just completely phase out when I see screens like this.
Yeah, I'm already lost. I'm already lost.
Read it 3 times before I get it, then I'm like lost and just click it away and try to figure it out myself, whatever, and then usually get frustrated. And then I go play another game.
So what's a better way to, because this is obviously not a simple combat mechanic, what is a better way to get the gist of it across to the player?
Just like feed it in sort of small bits, not like this. This pretty much looked like a wall of text to me. I'd say like feed it in like much smaller bits and at the moment when it matters. So, when first, for example, the first bit can be like, oh, and this is how you select who you're going to play with, who you're going to attack with. And then the next bit is like, what move are you going to make? And just all these like, it is a little bit of hand-holding, that is true. But, if you do it just one time for that first battle, when the user is actually still learning, then it's not annoying, right? Because learning stuff is not annoying. It becomes annoying when it's like so obvious that you don't need it. But
right.
Here
it is also annoying when you like, here's what you got to do, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do this. But now you're going to go do that first thing. You know what I mean? Like make the tutorial relevant to what you're doing that very second.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like it's already told me stuff that I'm going to be doing or I should be concerned about in the future, but I'm not quite to that point yet because I haven't even attacked.
It's like putting together something from IKEA, right? You're going to look at that stuff at the moment you need it.
So we're drinking heavily now. Okay, all right.
Okay, so characters participating in combat form an action queue. Initial position of each character in the queue is driven by each character's speed. Currently, acting characters are shown in the line at the bottom. Once the acting character selects which ability to use, it will also be displayed along with it. I'm with you. My mind just is like, I've checked out already.
Mm-hmm.
Combat, hold down space.
but I think that's entirely too many words.
Okay, so now I got dudes attacking and they're attacking and. Okay, honestly, I am not sure about the Q thing down below because I'm seeing them do it on the game. You can't see it because she's in the way, but there's a Q thing at the bottom that shows who's attacking who, but it also happens in the game, so it's like happening in two places at the same time, which doesn't make sense to me. But
now,
come to us and we'll rip your game apart.
Yeah, was it showing you the I'm going to go back to my D&D world. The initiative order before you started issuing commands?
No, it did it at the time. Here, I'm actually going to turn off your camera really quick. I think it's this one. Okay, so that way you can see what's happening. Charge, continue the onslaught. See, so I'm just supposed to click one of them or two of them, or I don't. So here we go. Engage. So there it is. See, it's showing that attack. She's attacking. Now he's attacking, and then that one attacks.
Ah, okay.
But it's already showing them do it in the game. So I don't understand even what the point of that is. Charge, engage the target, union in close combat. Charge and engage. Continue the onslaught. Engage the target, union. These are like the same exact thing. But one costs nothing and one costs one. I think I'm not following. Did I just disable that? Okay. And he's dead. And I won. Okay, so for me, pros, I like the way it looks. The music is great. It feels immersive. The cons, I'm not a fan of the gameplay at all. The mechanics are not fun for me. But that's me personally. The tutorial is just, I like she was talking about, I checked out after the first screen came up and gave me a whole bunch of information. Yeah. It's too much for me.
You say like, oh, it's me personally, but I actually don't think it's you personally. I think a lot of people would probably have the same experience when they play this.
Maybe.
And that's one thing. You always have to take the feedback into account that not one person is going to feel the same about everything, but I agree as well that the core mechanic may be fun and it may be engaging, but it needs to be streamlined and rolled out to the player in a more friendly manner
and fun. And it's hard to know what's fun as a game designer. It's hard to know because you're so inside of the game. You don't because you know everything already.
Yeah.
But I mean, true. I think the game is gorgeous. It looks amazing. It's beautiful. I was like, oh, this is it looks like I don't know. I thought it was going to be a lot more fun than it was. Okay.
All right. So our final one for the day is Evolution from North Star Games. North Star is a board game company, and this is from their new digital division where they are adapting their board games to digital.
Let's go to the watering hole. Okay. I think there was a tutorial that I started playing. Okay, are you sure you want to leave your current game? Yes. I want to start from the very, very beginning. Welcome, biologist. Evolution Island has some amazing species. Let's go exploring. First, let me know, have you played? Nope. Have you played? It says no, it's been a while. That's not even an answer. I'm sorry. Have you played it? Nope, but it's been a while. It's either yes or no, really. Or, if you want to put in, well, I have played it, but it's been a while. Anyways, multiply. Now I'm nitpicky.
But good feedback.
It is, because it could be, there's actually 3 answers in there. Yes, I've played it before. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Can you keep that door closed?
I've never played this at all. Or
the dog keeps barking.
The third one is, I've played it, but it's been a long time.
You're not leaving yet.
You don't need as much of a tutorial going through, but you just need
that's also an idea, right? There could be like the full tutorial, and there could be like a little reminder. Maybe there's certain things you need to remember in this game, certain values or something. Then if you say it's been a while, then it pops up like a cheat sheet or something to remind you.
Yeah. Or it could just be yes or no. I mean, have you played before? Or do you want the tutorial? Yes or no? Okay. Look right there. Your species is hungry. Click to feed it. So how can I tell it's hungry?
Where is your species?
Because it's doing that. Okay. Excellent. That food is worth 1 point at the end of the game. So I got food. Okay, the points are over here behind Jay. So add population to eat more food. Okay, cool. It tells me exactly where to go.
You can go ahead and take me off there too, so you can see the UI if you need to.
All right, well, you can just take us all off then.
You can hide me. I don't mind.
There we go. Okay, so what does this say? This says to put it right there too. Bloop. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Another species has come to the watering hole. Now you're competing for food. So I'm supposed to just drop it on there? Okay. 2 population didn't get food and starved. Okay. I get it. Round 1, field intern starts first. Okay, so what does it say? The environment can be unforgiving unless you adapt. Let's use foraging as a trait. So that's what this middle thing here is. Species trait. What's this one? Species trait. Species trait. Okay. Trait gives you a species new abilities. And then I'm supposed to put that there. You can only eat food until your population is full. Go ahead and feed. So because I had this trait thing in the top, I ate faster. It looks like it. Adapting to the environment determines who will survive. Trait points. You're ready. Let's go to the watering hole. So I got traits and then population. Continue. Dinosaur. So what do we have? Cooperation, cooperation, and cooperation. You can also use your cards to create more species. This one is number 9. That one's number 6 and that one's 7. Okay.
Darn, this is extinction due to turn order. What a way to go.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because player number 2 never actually had the opportunity even to do anything about it. So
try to place it on the correct species. Okay. One of my favorite traits. Try to place it on the... So I have 2 species. Try to place it on the correct species.
They're both the same, aren't they?
I don't know. Add trait, add new species. All right. Not quite. Cooperation shares 1 food with the species to the right.
Okay, so those 3 squares all have a different function, but they look exactly the same. So you have to hover over every time to see what they do, I think.
I think these are all species traits. They're all traits.
But can you add another one over to the left?
Oh, let's try.
Or the right?
Add trait. Not quite. Cooperation shares 1 food with the species to the right. You need to place the card as a trait on your species on the left. Okay.
Well, at least it tells you why you screwed up.
Right here? Okay. Feeding. Now I'm supposed to eat. Chomp, chomp. And then I shared 1. And then it's his turn again.
Oh, wait, there was a little animation there. Your ants did something.
Yeah.
Oh, the little dinosaur tells you it's your turn.
At the start of each round, you add food to the watering hole. That number in the top left of the card is their food value. You've got 2 population to feed right now. Choose wisely. What is it? Am I supposed to put this up here? Play your food card now. Mountains of food. This is more than you can eat. It gives your opponent free food.
Also, when you look at the layout of the map, like it looks like it's ready to, you could have like, I don't know, 10 or 20 populations or something on the map, but for the opponent, there's really only space for 2, 3 maybe. So I'm wondering like where later levels this game is going.
Okay,
why would there otherwise be all that empty space left and right?
There's a lot of empty space. Indy, the cards have like dual meanings because I've played a game like this before. The 2, you've got a foraging card, but it also has a second variable as that 2 food. Like that's a -2 to food. So take your cooperation as a 2 and put that up there.
Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing. Perfect. Just enough for ourselves. Let's go over the 3 things you can do with your cards. Play a trait. Okay. Add a population. And make a new species. Okay.
Well, that's good that the tutorial sort of summarizes again what you just did, because that was a lot to go through.
That was. Okay. Rounds end when all species are fed or the food runs out. So let's go ahead and Mac Daddy on that, and then it shares with me. Then it's my turn. Only that one? This is dead. No, he ate food. Round 3. Fight. Okay, now we got to select food. Probably
I'm
40.
wondering what that green dinosaur means. He jumps from one side to the other.
It's whose turn it is. I thought it was. Maybe it's not. No, because Indy's going right now and the dinosaur's on the other end.
Yeah.
Now it's my turn. To choose how to adapt this round, remember the 3 actions: new species, add population, or add trait. Take 1 additional plant food. We don't need that. Here, let's go like this. Foraging. Every feeding, share 1 food to the right. That's what we got here, though. Share 1 food to the right. Here, let's put population. And let's put population there, too. I don't want to change my mind, but okay. In turn. Now I got to click an in turn button. Feeding. Now it's my turn. Uh-oh. Someone's going to die. It's going to be me. Because they ate first.
Extinction due to turn order.
Yeah.
That sucked. All right, so take 1 additional plant food. Our opponent went first and gobbled up the food. Okay, so I think the dinosaur means that I go first. Okay.
Oh, now he tells you. Like, yeah, okay.
Time to adapt. Add as many species and as much population as you think the ecosystem can support.
Oh, all right. So it's like playing Rook to an extent. You only want to put enough food out there to fulfill what you can eat. So it's kind of like I forget what they're called. There's several card games that do this, but I can't remember what it is. What it's called?
Is it bothering anyone else? The paper cards are touching the water. I'm pretty concerned.
They're
That's effing hilarious.
Right, laminated. So I am kind of wondering what the goal of the game is. Like, is it the goal to let your opponent die out and go extinct, or is it the goal to basically hit a certain number of population? It's not very clear, I think.
I think if you do one, you'll get the other. I think the end goal is probably to kill off your competition, but one of the ways that you do that is by outgrowing your opponent.
I mean, it just seems weird for a game named Evolution that the goal would be to let your opponent die.
Well, you're evolving and they're not.
Yeah, I guess that's the way of the world.
Yes. Why we don't still have Neanderthals.
Okay. Oh. Feeding. Feeding time. And there's 3, and he's going to eat first.
I like the small animations, though, on the cards.
I'm dead.
Nice touch.
All right, I guess I had food on me. Last round. Notice long neck doesn't take food out of the watering hole. Okay.
That's fun. I love that phrasing because that's exactly what my son calls any kind of like brontosaurus or, you know, any long neck herbivore dinosaur. He just calls them long necks.
So I contributed 3. I forgot what the other card was. I wish I could see what the other card was. What does that say? Every feeding... Share 1 food to the right. Already got it. What the heck? There. Screw it. Five. How does he get to go first? Dick? Oh!
He got to the watering hole before you did.
How'd I get 3? Because I get 1 automatically, I guess. Population points. And subspecies. So, what do you guys think of that?
Complicated, I guess.
I still don't understand it. I am not a big card game person, though. Like Magic, I don't understand it. It's way too much for me. So
It's by the way, from this game complete screen, it's still not incredibly clear to me who won or lost. It's just that the guy says, like, you know, the tutorial guy says, like, you lost, and otherwise I still wouldn't have known.
Right. Well, it does say dominant species and subspecies, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Again, and here he says, "Cripes, we lost." Not bad though. Nature is complex. Your score is.
Games, you know, around here, I like when board game companies move to digital because one, a lot of games out of the box are hard to understand. I mean, and it goes along with saying the worst way to learn how to play a game is by actually reading a manual or anything like that. So I love the trend that we're seeing in board game companies coming into digital, but you know, I agree that did a better job of explaining what was going on versus, you know, the last game we looked at, but it still wasn't, you know, after watching Indy play, you know, I'm with you. I still don't understand exactly what we were supposed to be doing. And, you know, that probably solves itself after 2 or 3 rounds, but you want to get to the end of that first game and have the player going, that was fun. I want to play another one versus, okay, we're done. I'm not sure what happened there. Do we need to go back and try it again?
Yeah, I also had the feeling it was still quite a lot of, I mean, you know, text describing here is what you need to do versus maybe just like highlighting a card or pointing an arrow, you know, where it kind of shows the player more what is expected. I mean, you know, doing it that way cuts about half the text.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to remember the actions also.
And cheaper to localize. So, I mean, and I agree because you can, I don't want to say railroad, but I mean, yeah, basically you can, you know, tell the player exactly where to go so you don't have to wonder and make you don't have to wonder what the player's doing as they're walking through the tutorial, because I mean, that was one of the things I could see Indy doing. It's like, I've got this card, but where exactly do I put it? You know, even though there's text, I like the idea of saying, there's an arrow going to a highlighted circle. You know, it makes it crystal clear where you're supposed to go, and you don't have to sit there and read and figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while, but I wonder what the Hearthstone tutorial is like.
I think it's extremely visual based, if I remember correctly.
Because Hearthstone was like I mean, I had never played it, you know, and I'm not a big card game person, but I played it and I'm like, oh, this is pretty fun right from the get-go. It's like, oh, this is neat. And I don't like card games, but this is neat. Yeah.
It had a lot of sparkles. Well, not sparkles in the way that it was not glittery. But, you know, at PAX Dev, I also saw actually a talk by one of the designers on Hearthstone. And I remember that he mentioned something about making the gameplay experience and also tutorial, making it crispy is what they called it. Where it's just like that slight right amount of little feedback points here and there that really give you that, you know, give you as a player that feeling like, oh, I'm on the right track now, and that, you know, makes it enjoyable to go through a tutorial.
There's also
juice. Juice.
Yeah, there's also a video. I don't know. It was like a GDC maybe 10 years ago talking about giving your game juice, and they had used the game Breakout as an example. And they're like, well, let's add this little effect when this happens. And then they added so much juice to where Breakout was just, instead of it being a block going back and forth, and they made this beautiful game that was super immersive. And yes, this will be available on video later. It will be available on Twitch, and then also the YouTube link underneath on the panels.
No raffle today, Tyler and you. I like the way we've conditioned them to do that, though. Everyone logs in and types exclamation point raffle.
Bam! Can I talk about the raffle later on in my stream, or is that too much?
What raffle? Do we have a raffle?
In my stream.
Oh yeah, you totally.
I'm going to do a giveaway for something from Blue. It could be a Blue microphone. There's a couple different choices. One of these boom arms right here, which I love. This is my favorite boom arm I've had. Or there's a couple of things that you could get, but that'll be later on in my stream on Twitch TV/indie. We're doing it during the stream, though. I'll put in the link.
So, closing thoughts on Evolution, or did we already close out thoughts on Evolution?
Well, I guess what also bothered me a little bit. It's a minor thing, but it was like. The tutorial professor, he was really in this sort of comic book style, and then background of everything was more of a sort of a prettier, more detailed kind of drawing. And then the dinosaur who indicated whose turn it is, he was kind of more 3D digital. And it's all these small things, but it does kind of give it that feeling like, you know, pick a style. You know, it just helps if everything looks a little bit more unified.
It messes with your suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
So, and as an indie team, it's sometimes hard to do that because, you know, you get art from one place and then you get art from another place, but still, you know, you want to really stick with the
overall. I mean, it's still, a lot of it goes back to, you know, you get a very myopic view when you're actually doing the development, and when you're, even if you're not a coder or an artist on it, but you're around the game all the time, you know, it's hard to see some of the stuff that people that are, you know, fresh to it will see. And that's why it's so key to, you know, get your game at these conferences, or, you know, be it in competitions in front of people, to get that outside, you know, interface in there. So any questions from you all for us, or, you know, for Martine, you know, anything along the lines of, you know, the indie competition world and that kind of good stuff? If you got them, speak up, let us know. And if not, Martine, thank you so much for, you know, taking an hour out of your day, or hour and a half as we're pushing it, and, you know,
you're welcome,
doing this. Folks, remember, you know, follow us, tell your friends. You know, we're still trying to get the word out that we're doing these shows to, you know, help developers along. Nice, Andy, good job. To help developers along the path and teach them a little more about the business and the marketing side of all this stuff. So that's all I've got.
What do we got coming up later on this week, Jay? Are we up in the air about that?
So yeah, we've had Lauren was going to be on here Friday, but, you know, then she realized that show is going to be smack in the middle of EGX, and she's going to be on a train back to her office from the show. So we're going to move her until Friday of next week. And so Friday of this week, we're going to have a mystery guest. I'll figure it out by the time we go live.
Maybe we can have the video about we can play the video about juice. That's a good video.
About what? The video about juice?
Yeah. Juice in your games. We can do a talk show about juice in your games. Juicing.
Oh, I like juicing.
Important topic.
It is
often
important.
Overlooked. Or spent way too much time on, but that's more like a feature creep thing. Right?
Too much juice, yeah.
That's like I've seen games where developers are like to actually finish it, so they kept adding juice like forever.
You know, like Star Citizen.
Is that a juicy game?
I don't know, but they're obviously keeping adding stuff because that game's never going to be finished. Awesome. All right. Well, I mean, I'm good unless somebody else has got something. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And very much thanks to the 3 companies that chipped in their game. I hope it was helpful. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. This was fun.
That was fun. Yeah, and if you guys have games that you would like to submit for us to have a look at and tear apart, you know, we try and say positive things about them as well. You know?
But if you need us to, you know, tell you that your baby's ugly, there's there's the submission document right there.
It's helpful things, right?
But it is, and you know, yes, we do come across those games that we look at and we're like, oh my god, this is just a turd, and we go on to the next one. But that even if it is, that doesn't help the developer at all. So it's always good to give constructive feedback and not like the feedback that you're going to get from the rest of the internet when you launch your game.
Right.
Exactly. You'd love to have me decimate your puzzle game? Well, that's what I do with puzzle games, is decimate them for sure. Alrighty then. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Make sure and click the follow button, and this video is going to be edited and then uploaded on here and on YouTube, so go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That'd be awesome too. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Isn't that right, Jay?
Exactly. And then next Wednesday, we'll have Lauren next Friday, but next Wednesday we're going to have Jen McLean, the executive director of the IGDA. So that'll be a good one.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Excellent. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming out, Martine.